Beate is an award-winning mindset coach and specifically helps ambitious women to up-level their mindset and create more fun and flow in their life to achieve more abundance, impact, and freedom. Who doesn't want that?
Mhm.
After a successful career in marketing in global organizations such as Kellogg's and Bacardi, leading multi-million-dollar brands like Grey Goose and Bombay Sapphire, she finally recognized her purpose and true passion and left her corporate job, using her 15 years experience in the personal growth industry to build a business that will inspire people to live better lives. She is the creator of the passion-driven business blueprint, the Joy Shift method, and hosted the Passion to Profit Summit, where 24 global experts and thought leaders share their biggest secrets to success. Welcome, Beate. Thank you for being here.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be speaking to you today.
Awesome. I'm so happy that you are here too. And the first thing that comes to mind when I think about questions for you that will add value to these ladies in dating and relationships is related to mindset. In our world of coaching, we throw the word mindset left and right. And sometimes some people don't know what it means. Improve your mindset, or your mindset is getting in the way, or up-level your mindset. So do you mind explaining a little bit what mindset is?
Absolutely. So I don't know if a lot of people have heard this nowadays, but it's still quite an interesting fact. And it is that 5% of our reality is created from our conscious mind, and 95% is created through our subconscious mind. So really, whatever we are consciously experiencing is only a tiny fraction of what's actually going on. And what is going on is the reasons why we do things, why we don't do things, the reasons of why are we repeating certain patterns, why are we creating these rules about ourselves, about how the world works, how things come together, how people interact with each other. So all of these things are in our subconscious mind and directed from that, and we assume that that's reality. That's, you know, everyone must believe that that's the rule of life, but it's actually a rule. Most of our beliefs and our patterns are rules that we've created ourselves. So the mindset is really directing those 95% that is subconsciously happening. And the more we can tap into that and leverage those 95% and turn them into the reality that we want to create, the 5% that we're consciously aware of is going to just become so much more awesome and so much more amazing, and a lot more of what we actually really want. Because the things, we can have all the things we've ever wanted, and these rules and patterns and behaviors and the thoughts that we have so become accustomed to through our life is the only things that are standing in our way. I say the only, it sounds simple, but it's actually not easy to tap into that and to change that. So it's really about how we're seeing our world and how can I see it differently to get a different outcome. I always say the you that you see is the you that you become. So what are you seeing in your reality? What are you perceiving? How are you seeing yourself? And what would you need to see in order to, so if you wanted that reality, your ideal vision of the world, vision of your future, what would you need to believe or see right now in order to achieve that? So it's, yeah, it's changing how you see the world, really. That's in a nutshell.
Right. I think it reminds me of what Wayne Dyer said in one of his books. When we change the way we see the world, the entire world changes. And I think it's so important to do that in all areas of life, but in dating and relationships, because if we are, if that 95% of unconscious bias, you could say, because it's not real. You know, we can choose something different if it's not working. If we have the ability to do that, our life, our dating life, our relationships are going to be completely different. So how do you go about after what you want, based on this, when you use this knowledge of that we are guided by our unconscious mind 95% of the time? Do you go after the result, let's say meet a man or be in a great relationship, just focusing on the result, or there is another way that can get us there that is not as direct and that associated with fear, with failure or success, so black and white?
Actually, if you join my email list, you'll get some great nuggets. I actually wrote, and you'll actually find it on my Instagram as well. I wrote an article saying I don't like results. Right. Because exactly of what you're saying is, you know, there's this pressure on it. There's this chasing. I need to do all these things to be able to get there. And that is exactly what's pushing all the results away. So what I work a lot with my clients is to find what's behind the results. What is it that I really want? There's always an emotion. Like, why do you want to meet that man? It's to feel loved, to be appreciated, to feel secure. So it's these things that you want. And so for you, the manifestation of that looks like a man that you're gonna marry and be with for the rest of your life. But those feelings are the reason behind that. So the more you can focus on those feelings, the more you exude that energy already. So it's about creating an attractor field. So if you know the whatever attractor field you're in brings more of that in. So if you're in an attractor field of you know days and weeks and years and months and years, you're feeling, you know, lonely, you're feeling unloved, and that's kind of the dominant energy, that your thoughts of your beliefs, that how you see your dating world, for example, that's going to attract more of that. Right. So it's really important to start, and you know, you don't have to from one day to the next step, from one to the other. It's impossible. Sometimes there's insights that can really change from one moment to the next, but and probably all of us have experienced that at one point or another, but you can't turn them on and off as with the light switch. They happen by happenstance. So what you can do is make a conscious effort to change your attractor field, so to step more into the energy of feeling loved already, feeling secure already, feeling appreciated already. And the more you're in that field, the more it just the results come naturally, easily, effortlessly. There's no chasing, there is no worrying about it, there is no trying to force it or make it happen. And it's just like, oh yeah, there he is, easy. But we're so focused on, but I need to do this to make it happen. And that's, you know, our Western culture, that's so based on achievement and results and hard work, that hustle culture, which I'm delighted to see more and more people are recognizing that's not the way forward. So it's about, you know, about receiving, you know, about knowing what you want and being that. Right. It's not about doing, it's about being. Who do you want to be? And that's going to create the results that you want to see in your life.
Right. Well, what is coming for me from what you said, it's brilliant. I mean, there are so many questions and ways we could go, because it's so rich what you said, so rich.
Absolutely.
But it's this thing that I notice in my practice is women that want an intimate relationship with a man, and they're working all day long. Some of them are working 3 jobs. So, or they are busy, they are, you know, playing sports and working and taking care of their grandkids or their parents or their friends. So they really, they don't they haven't created yet intimacy between themselves. And they expected to get it from a man. And as you said, it's not going to happen like that. We have to build it inside of us so we can share it, and it will come back. But yes,
I read this, and it was a great reminder. I read it, I can't remember, in a book recently, and it said, whatever you don't see or whatever you're lacking in your life, what you don't see in your world, that's what you're not giving yourself. So it's about, you've got to give it yourself first and feel it yourself first before you can receive that or see that in the world. Another good quote, another email that I wrote recently, it says, the mirror won't smile unless you smile. So you have to, whatever it is you want to experience, you have to create, you have to do that first. And then the world will reflect that to you.
That's beautiful. I love it. I love it. We cannot emphasize that enough. Yes.
And we get so caught up believing that it's the other way around. That's, well, when I have that, I can feel that way. When I have that, so that we put the outside world ahead of the inside. And that's why I think so much struggle, so much pain is coming from, because that's not how it works.
Right. Do you think that comes from the masculine model of doing and goal-oriented and having and taking action? That's how we got trapped into that model of doing.
Most likely, yeah, probably. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what I also encourage, the being, focusing on the being and focusing on, okay, what kind of woman do I choose to be in order to do the things that that kind of woman will do, and in order to have the things. I remember when I was in my late 20s, early 30s, I can remember, it was a long time ago. I always thought that, you know, coming from Argentina, we could say developing country in a way, and you know, not a lot of money. I always thought money, and in my house, every single problem was due to money. That was the culprit, and the scapegoat was money. So I always thought that having money and nice things was going to get rid of my problems, and I was going to be so happy all of a sudden. And I will never forget a day that I am in Fort Lauderdale Beach in the USA. I live in the USA, but you know, Florida. And I am in this beautiful, huge yacht with friends and with some people that I didn't know. And we were drinking expensive wine and going, you know, to have lunch by the water where you park your boat, and, you know, beautiful everything. I had a killer body, beautiful me, beautiful friends, and I was so unhappy. I still had that void inside of me, that nasty void that was like, this is not it. And that was a big moment when, you know, when I did some reflection and I started to switch to the being. So I got it firsthand. That is not about having, it's about who you are at the moment.
And
so,
then it comes naturally. Because
right.
I've had a similar experience in you know, with my job. It was a very glamorous job. I was traveling the world, business class, on Emirates, which is, I think, the best airline in the world. You know, all the yacht, I live in Dubai, the yacht parties, big glam, great money, lots of amazing dinners, champagne, Brig Goose everywhere. And then I started my business, and I couldn't do any of that anymore, especially at the beginning, because as you probably know, starting a business takes a lot of time, effort, and money. So, and it takes a lot of time before you start getting some money in again.
Yes.
So I couldn't do any of that, but I was so much happier than I was living in all that glamour. And because I was so much happier and was doing, and I was kind of doing what was meant to do, and I was fulfilled, and I was excited about my everyday. I was in love with life. The money just started coming naturally. easily.
My question
Yeah.
to you is how did you make the switch? Because what you did is extremely courageous. And that is a word that I cannot emphasize enough. It takes courage to go after anything that is important to us. It takes courage. Things just don't happen like this. So
Yeah.
I am really curious, what made you, because I have done that too, and it's just, I'm so curious about what made you make the switch? What made you say, I'm gonna live this high life where I have security, I know I get a paycheck every month or every year, whatever, I get retirement, I get to, you know, party and my status, everything. And I'm going to start my own business where I'm going to let go of all this. And I know I'm going to be happier. But what was the
So I
catalyst?
think it actually goes back to that point you were making earlier, that sometimes we were so busy, we were so caught up doing all the things, you know, like I did all the travel, all the work, I was in that rat race, in that hamster wheel, on and on and on and on and on and on and on. And it came to a point where I was so I was getting to a burnout stage, and I was already considering taking another job at Bacardi, because it was time for me to move, you know, after 2 or 3 years, you've got to change within the company. So I was going to go back to Europe. But that role wasn't going to start for another few months. I was like, perfect. So I'm going to take some time out, enjoy the last few months in Dubai, because I haven't really had the time to do that because I was so busy at work. And that's when I created that space. That, you know, when you're always in that race, you don't see what's right in front of you. And it was like I hadn't seen the wood for the trees. So when I created that space, it was almost like, because I knew I'd known for so many years that yes, I enjoyed my work, but I knew it wasn't my purpose, my path fully. But I just couldn't figure out what it was. But when I created that space, it was almost like I hadn't seen the wood for the trees. It was like, oh, of course. Because I had spent, like, since my late teens, early 20s, so much time in that whole mindset space, in the human potential. How can we grow? How can we live our best lives? How can we find our purpose? How can we achieve all the things that we want to do, and all the wine diet, law of attraction, all of the things. But I was just so fascinated by it. I just loved it. I just did it as a hobby. I did it for myself to figure out how I could live my life in a better way.
Yes.
And then it was like, oh my God, it was like, this is what I'm meant to do. So it was because I allowed that space for something new to come up and to inspire, to like, oh, that, of course. And yes, it was of course a scary move to actually, now I was like, no, I'm actually going to fully do that. But then I always say, what's the worst thing that can happen? Yes, it takes courage right now, but worst case, I can get another job. Worst case, you know, if you're in a relationship and worst case, you can move back home. Worst case, there's always another solution to it. But it's, you always regret not trying.
Right.
I think, yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. Congratulations for doing that. I'm so glad you did. Otherwise, we wouldn't have met.
Exactly.
So, and you wouldn't be doing what you are doing, you know, helping so many people. So it's
and that just no money, and I'm sure you know that there's no money can buy that feeling that when you're working with a client and you literally see them light up, even within just one session, you're like, oh, and all their heaviness falls off their shoulders, and they're like, oh my God, I didn't realize life could be so much better. And that's just the feeling that money can't buy.
Absolutely. There is a deep satisfaction and sense of purpose. And I think, you know, what you said it's so important. You know, if a lot of women are being stopped from even going on dates because they feel like, you know, look, if it doesn't work, they have been cheated, or, you know, they have been lied in the past, or there is another phenomenon that happens a lot, and it's they go out on dates and they don't find them attractive, or but what is the other option? I mean, there is no other way than keep doing it until it happens, you know? I don't know. It's just, there is no other way. When we have this desire of being in a relationship, we have to be a little bit uncomfortable. And the beauty of it is that how much, I know because it happened to me too, but how much did we know in our head intellectually about all the self-development, all we knew, we memorized all the phrases and all that, but it wasn't until you decided to take the plunge and open your own business when you started to actually use these tools at a different level, really, at the level of embodying it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that is unbelievable, you know, that's going for our dreams, being that dream, our own business or a relationship. It allows us to evolve. That's human nature. Then you think we always want more. And I think that has a lot to do with evolution and growth. So
what you said earlier about being was getting out of your comfort zone or getting uncomfortable, that's that's where mindset makes a huge difference, because some people will feel uncomfortable and freeze and not do anything. Other people will feel uncomfortable and do it anyway.
Yes.
And recognize they feel uncomfortable and won't let that stop them. And the difference between the two is the mindset, nothing else. Nothing else.
Right.
And we all feel uncomfortable, all of us, when it comes to new situations or dating or starting a business or the first time you do anything. We all feel uncomfortable. The difference whether we're going to actually succeed in it and actually go further in it is our mindset, and whether we let the uncomfortable feeling hold us back or we just move past it. Yes,
we just feel it. I just believe that sometimes our culture, our society builds in us this belief that we have to feel good all the time and that bad feelings we have to avoid as if they are going to kill us. And I don't know. I don't think it's the best way to go if you want to live a fulfilled life and honest, you know, an intentional life. It's about feeling all the feelings and being okay with it.
That's another rule that we've created that makes zero sense. Like, oh, you shouldn't feel bad.
Yes, I mean, it's okay to feel bad. It's okay to feel fear. It's okay to feel needs. It's okay to feel anything. It's just the meaning we give it to it. It's beautiful. Well, thank you so much. Thank you. This has been an amazing conversation. And I want to keep talking with you forever. But I know you have a gift for our viewers. Will you like to talk about it?
Absolutely. So it's a Zone of Genius tracker. And to give you a bit of background on that and how that's relevant to you, especially if you're looking for a relationship, is we are the most attractive when we do the things we love. We do the things we're good at. And we are unattached from the result because we are so busy and excited about own life that is the new attractor pattern. So even if you're maybe in the attractor pattern of loneliness, of wanting, feeling the lack of not having a relationship, if you can shift it to being really excited about something in your life and really, using your talents, your strength, your passions to the maximum, that's when your whole attractor field will shift. Now, it'll be so much easier to do than trying to change your attractor field around relationships, but that will change your attractor field as a whole, and you become so much more interesting. Men get fascinated by you and they're like, and want to be around you rather than you trying to kind of chase it. So once you create great energy and you in your zone of genius, then whatever it is you want, whether that's a man, whether that's a new job, whether it's starting a business, it's all the things that you would want in your life, that just comes more naturally to you. But first you need to identify what is that area that I can really shine in to bring out that light that attracts others.
Right. Oh my God, how beautiful. I am getting it too. I already signed up for it.
Awesome.
So I'm super
And then you
excited.
also get the occasional email with my great snippets of insight and mindset.
Oh, a plus. Great. Looking forward to it. Thank you so much, Beate. It has been a treat to have you. Thank you for sharing your light and your tone of genius and your knowledge and your expertise. I
Well,
truly
thanks for having me. It's been an honor, and I'm wishing everyone a wonderful relationship.
Yes. Stop the recording. Thank you